It is a stacked combat sports weekend in the world of combat sports. Obviously, we're closing out the year with a lot of events, starting on Friday with Bellator 289. We've got like 17 boxing shows. Jake Paul's probably fighting a Walmart cashier, and it's UFC 282 this weekend. And I honestly, when I'm able to get these preview shows done, I'm very grateful. But when I get a guest who's willing to just kind of drop it all and joining me last minute, I'm even more grateful. The inaugural, the first ever PFL middleweight champion, Chicago's very own Lewis Taylor. Sir, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for the introduction. It's been a long time since I had the chance to talk with you, so I appreciate the invite. And let's get to it, baby.
I wanted to have you on here for a few reasons. One, you have a smart mind in this sport, right? And obviously a coach of Belal Muhammad's. There's so much going on with Belal, obviously, currently, and his division. But I think most importantly, one thing I've always connected on you with, even I'm talking UFC gym events where you've been present. I'm talking, there's so many things bigger than just what happens inside the cage for you. And being from Chicago, the same city, we're from the same city. We know that it's not just about a win or a loss, and it's something that I'm working on a story I'm working on for UFC 282. You have some relation to one of the fighters. I just felt you were the perfect guy to talk to. And honestly, I'm just gonna get right into it. UFC 282, it's not the banger card of the year that I guess everybody was hoping for, with the rumored return of John Jones, and then Yuri, apparently, according to Dana White, the worst shoulder injury he's ever seen in the UFC.
The thing is, if as a fight fan, from Bellator to the UFC, these shows have given everything lately. If this show this Saturday can give 40% of what the last few cards have done, then it's been a success. With so many finishes, so many upsets, so many exciting fights, please, fans, don't be greedy. Just enjoy the ride.
Oh, absolutely. And the crazy thing is, I say that as talking about, from a casual fan. Obviously, I think I'm not a casual fan, but you know how fight nights are, especially you got so much going on, especially boxing, Teofimo Lopez. This weekend brings fight fans out, but a lot of them are casuals. So they'll see the poster and they'll see Magomed Ankalaev against Jan Blachowicz, and they'll be like,
"Ooh,
right." But then they'll see the one fight we're mainly going to be talking about, and that's Paddy Pimblett, Paddy the Baddy, against the guy you know very well, against the guy I know very well, Jared Flash Gordon. And they're going to be like, oh, Paddy's going to run through this guy. And it's honestly, Lewis, I don't have to tell you because you've been in the fight game. There are so many times, especially at the highest level, as much as Dana and everybody in media wants to say, if you get to Bellator, if you get to the UFC, mainly the UFC, this conversation is had, all the fights are fair. All the fights, we don't set anybody up for easy. No, they do.
yeah."
And I think when you look at this fight, I don't think people inside the MMA media or the hardcore fans who have knowledge of the sport, I don't think they're looking at this fight like that. But that's not what the UFC is worried about. They're worried about the casual fan finding Paddy the Baddy, thinking, oh, we're going to show a few highlights of Paddy in his early fights, and that's going to bring everybody out, buy our pay-per-view, go to your local bar, spend $100. Yeah, this isn't that fight for Paddy. Jared Gordon is such a different matchup than he's faced in his first couple UFC fights.
The thing about Jared is he's had his entire life has been a string of bad luck. But the thing is, he has shown resilience and grit, and every time from birth that life has knocked him down, he's found a way to keep living, keep winning, keep surviving. And that's the message that Jared preaches. And so I am rooting for Jared. Yes, the hype machine is behind Paddy. Yes, that is the layup. Jared is the layup that the UFC wants to give. And again, they don't fix the fight, but they do give favorable matchups. And that's what this is. Paddy has been in Florida, rode with Jared. He says he's caught Jared in a couple submissions, this and that. But I know Jared. I know Jared he might not be a great martial artist, but he's a very, very hard worker. And everybody knows the old cliche, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Yeah, and I think there's a conversation to be had about that, right? I mean, they elevated Paddy and Jared after all the chaos happened surrounding this card. So now we're talking co-main event, first time in. I mean, the spotlight couldn't be brighter on any, because as much as there's a title fight on the line, most of your regular casual fans are coming out to see Paddy Pimblett. And I mean, that's just fact. That's just the vibe, the energy that you're getting out there in Vegas. I'm sure if you ask around, people are like, yo, Paddy the Baddie's fighting. No one's like, yo, bro, Jan Blachowicz is fighting. Unless you know the fighters. So the thing is, I guess when and I loved what Jared said earlier this week. He said, you know, he doesn't get into trash talk because as somebody who's been through the things he's been through, half the things fighters say to each other, you get killed for in jail. You can't tell me to go sucker, you know what? You can't say anything like that because I'm going to catch you. And for me, and I don't mean this towards any disrespect of Paddy, but you can see the McGregorisms in him trying to, and it's not towards Jared. I think they've been very respectful, but he's very flamboyant, very bodega. Like he just speaks to speak, and he's laughing like Conor. He's using the same lines as Conor. And I don't know if that works against a guy like Jared.
You know, at the end of the day, both guys got to show up and show out. And I don't knock Paddy. Paddy has an energy. He has the wave. It's Paddy's job to ride the wave. It's Paddy's job to beat Paddy and put butts in seat and earn that moolah. So do you, Paddy? Do all the extra talking, all the extra laughing, all the extra cheeseburger down and whatever he got to do. But for my boy, I tell people right now, they see me, hey, Taylor, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, yeah, this weekend, Paddy versus Jared, we're not going for Paddy. We're going for Jared, Flash Gordon. It is what it is. And a lot of times in these type of fights, you lead with who you know, your boy, your closest connection. And sometimes the reason we fight is because two things that when you write it on paper, oh, this guy's going to kill this guy. But when the fight happens, it's a fight. And a fight cannot be contained to be like regulated all the ways. And I believe that if Jared makes this a fight, Paddy is loose. He is reckless. He believes he can't be KO'd. He's a Scot. They don't get knocked out. So again, I believe that Jared's gonna catch him. And again, it could go either way. But Jared is solid on the ground. Jared has heart. Paddy even wanted to bring up the Charles Oliveira loss. Little do he know, although the fight ended quickly, the shot that hurt him, similar to some other freakish injuries you see in the sport, Jared spent like 3 days having, I don't even know, I want to guess, like 8 surgeries, had to literally have his whole face and nose reconstructed over and over. It was a freak shot, but it looked, you know what I'm saying? But again, kudos to Charles Oliveira. But my point is, Jared has had a string of bad luck. At some point, if you don't give up, your luck will turn around. And I'm hoping that Saturday night, is the night that Jared's luck turns around.
And it's a weird thing, right? And you know, I love that you say that, because even Luke Thomas went as far as to say this week that you can debate it, but Jared has faced tougher competition throughout his UFC tenure than Paddy has. And I think as soon as you mention Charles Oliveira, the argument stops there. It's not about what happened in the fight. It's the fact that Jared was game and up for each of these fights. And he's had some bad losses, and he's had some pretty damn good wins as well. But something you said just kind of about what it takes to be a fighter, and something, one of the big reasons, without throwing everything out on, the podcast, is you and I had a very deep conversation just, about a week ago. And when I look at this fight, and it's not relating me or you or anybody to Paddy, who's lost a friend to suicide, Jared, who's had to go through the same thing and has suffered even more in his own personal life and family life. He did 4 years ago, I was just watching it before we got on here, he did an interview with Ariel Helwani. It's an hour long. He details every single thing: overdoses, arrests, facing 20, everything. You guys can go back and watch it. So, Coach Taylor, as I always call you, I got to ask you, especially as a former champion, a coach, a fighter through and through, someone who's had to pick himself up, throughout your career, what is it, if you can put it into words, that through all the hardships that a Jared Gordon and a Paddy Pimblett, but I'm going to focus on Jared because he's the one being written off here, what makes that a special fighter? Like you said, may not be the greatest mixed martial artist currently walking planet Earth, but there's something about all those things he's been through that is leading him to UFC 282 this weekend.
I mean, being blunt, uh, again, there's nothing special about Jared. There's nothing special about Belal. That's why people make them the underdogs. The people want to get behind the people with the it factor, the people with the crazy physique, the people with the super speed, the you know what I'm saying, coming from the pedigree background. These guys come from nothing. You understand? They come from nowhere, nothing, but they continue to climb, to grind, and they continue to beat people who are more talented. Because the thing that makes both of those guys special is the intangibles. And that's what I mean. Like, you can't measure heart. You can't measure grit. And that's something that a lot of guys, when they study Belal, they study Jared, and they look at them, they go, I'm going to smoke this guy. And then when they fight them and they hit them with their best shot and they keep coming forward, it's something that crushes those talented fighters. But again, Jared, it's his entire career is an uphill battle, because he didn't get into fighting because he was a talented fighter from some jiu-jitsu or martial. He got into fighting to defeat his own demons, to not fight people on the street, to find another way in life. So for him, fighting is a way to put food on the table and a way to survive. So I can care less for a guy who gets free Rolexes and a guy who has a whole country behind him. And I can care less that most people say that Paddy's going to win. Most people always say that Belal's going to lose. Every fight he's an underdog. So I'm not in this for that. I'm in this for the people. And personally, I just want Jared to win. And I know that even when you want something, you got to work for it. And Jared is putting in the work. And if he wasn't putting in the work, I would not have his, I don't care, because you can't just want it. You got to go get it. And you can't, it has to be together. You can't just pray on it. You got to go work for it.
I'm going to call you the David Goggins of MMA coaches. That's what I'm going to do, because I'm ready to run through a wall right now. With that being said, you mentioned him. I would be dumb not to ask you about Belal Muhammad. I know there's a little bit of an exchange recently on social media. I know that the UFC announced March 18th in London. Now, I don't know anything, but has there been any conversations for Belal to just stay ready?
I got to know what you know.
I don't know anything. No, I don't know. I'm just saying,
no,
we know Kamaru's had injuries in the past. So,
yes.
So my thing is there a conversation within, Team Belal Muhammad to stay ready? Because if Kamaru can't show up, they're going to London for Leon Edwards.
Listen, period blank. At the end of the day, whether it's Kamaru, whether it's Leon, whether it's Kobe, whether it's Masvidal, whomever, our plan is to be in London and be on that card and be ready. Whether it's Cosmont, we aren't picky, but we know that we need to be, what they say is proper preparation prevents poor performance. So that's the date. When we left Dubai, that's the card we want to be on. They offer us, we said no on the plane. I told them personally, I said, bro, they're going to offer you another BS fight. Don't take it personal. Just say no. You aren't the champion who they want to build. So sometimes, unfortunately, as a human, we must just accept how the world views us. We might look in the mirror and see ourselves as something different, but the world puts its own imprint on us. Sometimes we have the ability to fight through the world and show our true selves, but that takes time. So all you can do is keep going, keep focused, and keep doing you. And so the thing with Belal right now is stay the path, be ready. You might fight Leon, you might fight anybody, but no matter what, if the title shot's that night and you fight and whoever wins, you're next, period. If you win that fight that night, you're next to get that title shot.
I know Dana's mentioned Khamzat and Colby. You mentioned some names. Just you personally, as one of his coaches, is there somebody you'd like to see him fight in March?
Of course, but unfortunately, it's a very touchy situation. So I'll choose not to make that information public until
The time
all
is,
the
yeah.
all the yeah all the dots are in the right place. Teeth, but I got a feeling, and I already told Bilal like this is what's gonna happen, and he'll tell you most of the time I say something, I'm right. I told him I was the one who told him to get ready for Cosma or Leon. He was busy calling them out, and I said, bro, don't waste your energy talking about it because I guarantee you, see this, I pulled it up. I say, see this, something's gonna happen, and you're gonna be the replacement. A couple weeks later, he said, bro, I said, you got the fight. Which one? That's it. Which one?
I love it. I love it. I'm super excited for that, obviously, and it's such a great story through and through. Really quickly, because I just want to get some main card predictions from you. But before that, because I don't want to take up too much more of your time, there's something special about not only yourself and Belal, but the team, and Jared Gordon's part of that because to him and Belal very close friends. But now working with Habib and anatomy of a fighter just captures everything so perfectly. I love that man to death.
Well,
I hit him up like every 6 months trying to get him on here. He does
he
such
literally
great
just
work. But behind the camera, when the camera's off, my thing that I love about Team Habib is it's not when the camera's on. This is through and through 24/7, really to steal Corey Anderson 25-8. This is just how that team works. This is how it operates. And I'm not saying anything towards anybody that has helped Belal along the way, but you being there, as long as you have been with him, what is it? Is there something you've seen with Habib around and his team and just everybody coming closer together that you feel has taken Belal to now even a better next level?
um the funny thing is there is things that we improved on. The but the funny thing is none of it we showed in the last fight. you know. So a lot of people were like, "Oh man, blah blah blah," Khabib, blah blah blah. I'm like, bro, what happened was best case scenario. We didn't go train with Khabib for best case scenario. We trained for worst case scenario. So again, we didn't go there for that. Again, Damian Maya shot 25 times on Bilal, got him down once. So if your game plan is to take him down, you better do your homework. He's not that easy to take down, especially if your striking ain't on point and you aren't the total package martial artist. And again, that's what Sean Brady wasn't. Sean Brady talked himself into the position, but he wasn't ready to really step up to that plateau. Not yet. He got work to do. His grappling's on point, but his striking needs work. He's not ready to go through the fire. You see it when he gets hit in the face. You see it flinch. Other fighters, they get hit, they swing back. You hit me, I'm getting mine back. Sean Brady gets hit, he wants to grapple you. He wants, he puts up a fake front, but you can look in their eyes when you slow the tapes down and see who is enjoying the war.
So last one on Belal. Safe to assume we'll see him fight in March in London.
I believe so. Unless, again.
Obviously, I know the fight game. You know the fight game. I don't have to tell you. You don't have to tell me. But the hope and kind of the plan is for him to fight in March in London.
Yep, the plan is to be on that card with another top 10 opponent. It's gonna be somebody, close. Well, I always tell Belal, honestly, I don't believe in wasting my energy, but Belal was doing really great at staying active on Twitter, staying active on social media platforms, whether it's some dumb stuff he say or some funny stuff or some intelligent stuff. He's keeping his name in people's mouths and he's keeping himself relevant even when he's down. So that kudos to him in utilizing the social media platforms the way they were meant to be used. But with that being said, you'll see us in London, unless you see us on a main card somewhere else or headlining somewhere else, and that'll probably be a big fight if we're not on the other main card. But we're aiming to be under Leon and under Usman, and if anything so happens, we want to be that replacement.
Well, listen, I'm not the guy who makes it about himself, and not that you care. But if it does matter, my birthday's March 17th. So if you guys are in London, March 18th, in a fight, I mean, that's the best birthday present I could have. Having Coach Taylor, Belal fighting in a big spotlight. I mean, that's enjoying the birthday right there. I don't need anything else. Forget St. Patrick's Day. Coach, real quickly, I'm going to just throw these fights out here to you and get some main card predictions from you. We talked at length about Jared Gordon and Paddy. I think you and I are both on the same wavelength there. It's all respect given to Paddy Pimblett, and we understand what the situation is, but just knowing Jared Gordon. But last thing on this fight, and I know we both have picked Jared to win, isn't it nice to see two guys who have gone through similar stuff in their life both coming into a high-level fight with a lot of eyes on them, and they just want to preach a positive message?
And that's something about it. They neither one of them are overlooking the struggles that the other has to have went through, and I respect that in Paddy. I respect that in Jared. Um, the thing is about Jared. Jared is a very tough shell. He can rub you the wrong way, but once you get to know him, you understand that that's Jared. He's genuine, you just wish him the best.
Absolutely. Well, in the main event, we've got Magomed Ankalaev against Jan Blachowicz. Jan going for another 205-pound title. It's hard to argue against the run Ankalaev is on, but Jan's been there, done that. He's beat Adesanya. He's beat some of the best at 205. He's also been beat. How do you see that fight playing out?
Just left those Dagestani monsters, so I can't say Polish power is gonna save the day. I gotta ride with the Dagestani, and.
Yeah, no, for someone who knows the sport and for fans who know the sport, this main event, it may not get talked about, right? Because it's Polish, Dagestanians, but it's on paper a hell of a matchup.
It's gonna end it's not going 5 rounds.
No, it's not.
It's not going 5 rounds, because if either one of these guys lands 2 punches, it's over.
Absolutely. Santiago Ponzinibbio had multiple opponent changes. He's getting Alex Morono at a catch weight. I mean, Ponzinibbio is a guy who came in with a lot of hype. Alex Morono, that was just a huge step up for him. I know there's a lot on the table here for him if he can pull off the win at a catch weight. I'd ask you who you have in this fight, and I will ask you who you have in this fight, but I'll also ask, is it kind of favor Morono? Because he's always a guy who consistently seems to be ready, and now it's not. He doesn't have to drain his body to 170. I like him in this fight.
I do too. So it'll be interesting. But the problem with fights like this is one guy has trained a full camp and has had a lot of stress, and now he has even less. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the guy coming in as the last replacement, when you fight and have the ability to fight like you have nothing to lose, it sometimes just make you great. And that's why upsets happen. So although I want to, upsets can't happen, but I'm going to go with the favorite in this one.
I like it. Darren Till is a guy. Everyone's waiting for Till 2.0, and he's ready. He's not ready. He's here. He's not here. And he's taking on, I'm going to butcher this because I'm terrible at names, Dricus Duplessis. That was terrible. But with that being said, is this make or break for Darren Till? He's super popular. I don't think he would get cut if he loses, but he's really going to have to turn it around, and hopefully this could be the fight for him.
He won't get cut, but he'll definitely get put down on the under UFC Fight Pass card. but honestly, bro, Till's not that good. He's not that good. He's not that great. He just like Paddy came in with a lot of hype. When you come in and you got a country behind you and you fart, they applaud. Greatest fart I've ever heard, Mikey. So now he's been in the UFC for a while. The fart has aired out, and it's time to see if there's some substance behind the noise he made. And like you said, it's not make or break, but it's definitely show me what you got time. He's had the bromance with Kazmat all over the place. He literally, when Kazmat won one of the fights, he was up there like he won. Yeah. I'm like, what the heck, bro? Like, it ain't your time. You're in the corner, But again, it is what it is. But I do like Till. Don't want to get it twisted. He's always been cool. Um, we've talked a couple times on the podcast. I like him, and so for that fact, and I want he always shouts his daughter out in Portuguese and this and that. I'm rooting for Till, but Till, it's time to show up and show the world what you got.
And you talk about having a country behind you. I mean, I don't have to make any better example than probably the world's most popular fighter currently, who we haven't seen in over a year. But when you have an entire country behind you and you start to have these breaks, no pun intended, towards Conor McGregor, but these losses, and now your fart not only just aired out the room, but now nobody's left standing cheering for you because it smelled so bad for so long. I mean, honestly. So for me, I love Darren Till more than most people. I love the everything. He was Paddy before Paddy. It was like Conor, Darren, Paddy.
Yeah,
and he was there for a minute. But then you start looking at his wins against his losses. I mean, I think his best fight was his fight against Robert Whittaker, and that was a loss. And I can't give him a win for a moral victory. So eventually, if you keep losing, your country goes. It's there for you. It respects you, but it doesn't support you in the same way. So I think if you want to get all that back, you can have Cosma. He can put you on his shoulders and run around and all that. But you got to win. You got to win for yourself. You got to win for your country. You got to win for everybody around you. And really, you got to win to show that you're still one of the best. And you got to, honestly, for him, he's got to make a statement at 185. And he hasn't.
And unfortunately, I hate to say this, but the truth is Whittaker is not that good. He has the heart, the grit. He can take the punch and he puts in the work. And a lot of these guys are living a lifestyle that doesn't agree with their profession. And Whittaker has taken advantage of it by being a true martial artist. But when it comes down to really divulging into a fighter, Whittaker's, if we was measuring a 1 out of 10, Whittaker's a 6 or 7. And that's what I'm saying. He's solid, he's good, but he's not 9 or 10.
Right. I hear you. The last fight on our main card, we got Bryce Mitchell against Ilie Topuria. I mean, this is a hell of a fight. And Bryce Mitchell may have had the coldest redneck combat sports one-liner I've ever heard today. He said, Ilie called me a coward. Does a coward come in prepared to die? And I was like, no, sir. Holy shit. I just got way more excited for your fight because these two guys are crazy. We're talking about a guy who drilled his nutsack and really just exploded himself and then bragged about it on the internet. Bryce Mitchell's a crazy person. Topuria is a crazy person. This is possibly a dark horse for fight of the night. What do you make of this fight?
I don't even see it as a dark horse because I believe if Bryce Mitchell lives or comes from another country, Bryce Mitchell is Paddy Pimblett. If Bryce Mitchell comes from any other place but America, he is celebrated for being himself and for the reckless style and the finishes and the way he fights. He is a star. But unfortunately, in America, nobody celebrates you until you are a star.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going for Bryce if that's
no, absolutely. No, I'm with you there. Just a few more minutes here for you, Coach, and I guess it'd be dumb of me to not ask. Obviously, first, like I said in the opening, inaugural middleweight PFL champion, and it's come a long way since you were there. First and foremost, because I didn't talk to you much right after you won, but how has that, if you reflect back now, where we are here at the end of 2022, how has that kind of molded you from when you won the title, the grand prize, all of that, to where you are today?
I mean, the thing about it is the title was a blessing. It validated a lot of from a lot of people who've trained with me, who know who I am, and always wondered why I never got the opportunities to show my skill set in the UFC. It just the proof is in the pudding, and people still don't know who I am. But at the end of the day, I did not get into martial arts to be famous. I got into it to get paid, and that is why I applaud the PFL for putting money in fighters' pockets. I didn't have to go fight for 4 years to make $1 million. I fought 1 year, made a little over $1 million, and then for whatever reason, I'm semi-retired since. But since then, life has been very good. I got 2 kids that I haven't missed a beat with. I've got a friend in Belal who I've been able to travel the world with. I have relatives over the country taking my family, my mom, multiple trips around. So life is great. Everybody is healthy. We're all alive. Um, I got problems, but they're good problems, you know? So I mean, honestly, the PFL did little, but it gave me the security I needed to weather the COVID storm and this and that. And then through my wife's connections, we've been able to do other business ventures. And I honestly haven't even touched that money. I bought my house, you know, I bought a car, but you know, and then, you know what I'm saying? But beyond that, people be like, oh man, you must be spending this or spending that. Like, no, bro, no, $1 million ain't no money. And that's the thing that people don't understand. They still think this ain't 1949 where $1 million is could take you for the rest of your life. No, you can blow $1 million in a weekend, you know? So
Absolutely.
you know, the thing is, I've always been humble. I maintained my humbleness as much as possible. Sometimes the world forces you to have to shit on niggas, excuse my French. But again, that's what I preach to the people where I'm from. Put the guns down. People, I pull up in the hood and they want to look at what kind of car you in. I pull up in a Ford Fusion. Hey man, when you gonna get the Lamborghini? Like, bro, you don't need to see me in a Lamborghini to respect me, you know? And that's the thing about it. But my business ventures outside of fighting, now I might pull up in a Lamborghini, but it's not because I wanted it. It's because I just had to make a purchase because Uncle Sam is in your pocket regardless.
Right, right. So I'm not Ariel Helwani, but you made one comment, so I gotta ask. You said semi-retired, so you're
Yeah,
not fully retired? Could we see
yeah,
you fight again?
maybe. The thing is, I don't ever want to say retired because I'm always gonna be a fighter. And the thing is, in my heart of hearts, when I step outside the door, I might gotta fight. And at the same time, as a martial artist, being a professional part of me, that part might be the retired, but the rest of it has to be ready to go. You know, I got 2 girls I'm raising. Inshallah, I might have some grandkids one day. Um, and who knows? You see, Mike Tyson just fought a couple years ago. So I'll never say retired because that kills off a part. And I don't want to say that. I don't want to put that negative energy into my brain. I did it for a couple years and now I got a kegger. So I'm going to get myself back into fight shape. Whether I fight or not is irrelevant. It won't be for the money. It'll be just for fun, for the love of the sport. If I ever love or miss or desire to get back in there, or somebody says something crazy enough where I have to go settle it there, then maybe you'll see me. But beyond that, I'm just living life, taking care of my family, trying to prepare for a better future for all of us.
Well, you were a true example of what a mixed martial artist was during your time, and obviously on your way to a title and the grand prize in PFL. But you're still an asset to the sport in the way you carry yourself, the way you talk about it, the way your friendship, relationship, and the coaching you give to one of the world's best 170 pounders. So you may not have the gloves on to be in the cage, but you're still a much valued asset in this sport. And I say that, you know, and I speak for a lot of people, I feel, when I say that. So maybe the clout's not there for everyone, but the respect is certainly there for you. And I know what matters more in those two things to you. So, Coach Taylor, I want to thank you for the time. Who knows? Maybe one day I'm hitting you up and I'm like, hey, you feel like beating up a midget? I'll come down to the gym. So,
The door is always open, Mike. I always appreciated you. And I can't wait to see more of you continuing to find your path and climb and put Chicago on the map and kick that dude Errol Hawani out his seat and put your face right where he is used to be.
man, Ariel's been a huge friend and a great leader for me and mentor to me. But I just know one thing, and you know this as a coach and as a fighter. I'm unfortunately, due to life and other jobs, I do this part time. If I could do it full time and I was consistent and all the lights were on upstairs, I'd be fine. But that's something, again, everybody's got their own reasons to do what they do, and that's where I'm at. So I know I got to get more consistent, but I'm working on it for 2023.
At the end of the day, brother, the old saying goes, do what you love and you'll never work another day in your life.
Yep, absolutely. Coach, we got a hell of a stacked weekend. Real quick, Rufián Stotts, Danny Sabatello. Who you got in that one?
You already know I got that little short, midget black dude talk like he's from Louisiana. I'm going with Rufián, baby. Rufián, good luck, baby. That's my dog. I love that kid. So full of energy, so tough, and so organic. He is who he says he is.
It's going to be a hell of a fight. We're probably one of the best in recent Bellator history, and they carried the promotion. And I never want to hate on Bellator, but if there was one thing they could have done better, it was promote this fight. But listen, when you see somebody who knows how to drive a Lamborghini, you don't tell LeBron James how to play basketball, and these two were the LeBron James of fight promotion, so we'll just let them have it. Coach, thank you for your time. Thank you for doing this on short notice, last minute. I appreciate the insight and the conversation. All the best to you and your family, and let's talk again soon.
For sure. Stay blessed and put the guns down.